Well, thank you, everyone. Pleasure to be here, and very interesting to follow 4 interesting gold talks. And you might think, well, what's these gold talks got to do with Silverton polymetallic project in Bolivia? Well, the thought process here, as I'll show you, is a lot of similarities because these guys are focused on big systems. And I spent my whole career looking for big systems. That's where you succeed. And I'm going to show you how ISCA is an amazing system. The usual forward-looking statements. So Eloro is publicly traded. It's been on the TSX-V for a while, but I'm happy to say we announced today that on Monday we are on the TSX, which is nice because our stock price has gone up to $350. Thank you to all the investors that follow us. We have a huge property position now down in southern Bolivia, 485 kilometers. Our key property, though, is ISCA. We raised about $50 million in 4 bought deals. Recently did a smaller $10.9 million deal. We've done 85,000 meters of drilling so far, 122 holes. We haven't missed on 1 hole, and I can tell you right now, as I'll show you, we're working for this MRE, but it's a progress report. We are nowhere near defining this full system, and I'll show you that. So that's just the cap structure here. We just added the TSX thing to now, so this is a hot off the press slide here. You can see the distribution of ownership, management board. We have skin in the game, and we have a very tight cap structure. So we're down here in southern Bolivia. The famous tin belt you probably heard of. The crust in Bolivia is 80 kilometers thick. That's why you got tin there. Tin forms deep and high temperature, and then the silver, lead, and zinc. And we have lots of interesting neighbors. Cerro Rico, of course, the largest silver mine in the world. It's been going for 500 years, and you might ask, well, how the heck did they miss ISCA? Well, I'll show you why. Here's our land position. There's a huge structural corridor running through here. You can see the Porvenir concession, which is our main concession there. A lovely place to work, good infrastructure, no artisanal miners, no people living on it. Our base is in Tepiza, 48K south. I would describe it as exploring in Arizona or New Mexico, except at 4,000 meters. This gives you the idea of the caldera we're in. You can see the our locations, our main target, and give you a little bit of geology here. So we're in this huge, amazing porphyry epithermal complex, and we've got the basement's artificial rocks. We have major breccia pipes, we have domes, huge hydrothermal breccias, and our more recent drilling has shown us we have this big, what we call now the ISCA property. The scale is huge here. The whole system, we've drilled over about 2 kilometers. It's probably 4 up to a couple of kilometers wide. Mineralization age is similar to Cerro Rico and other famous neighbors. Now, the important thing here is to realize there's 2 major stages evolving here. Let me take you back to the Miocene, 12 to 14 million years ago. You had this massive stratovolcano here, driven by this huge tin porphyry complex. And like with all stratovolcanoes, eventually the magma chamber is emptied, becomes unstable, collapses. And then you have a resurgent stage where you get domes, breccia pipes, and this huge porphyry epithermal silver, zinc, lead stage. So in a nutshell, that's what happens here. Now, if you look at the magnetic maps, you get a sense of the scale. That anomaly there, which looks like somebody's face, is 5 by 3 kilometers, which is massive. And we're currently drilling down in the south area, and most of our drilling is up in the north area. So this gives you a little more detail. We've drilled over 2 kilometer strike length there. Again, haven't missed in a hole. And you can see the red outline there. That's our sort of high-grade area. It's roughly defined on the basis of 90 grams silver equivalent per ton. Recent drilling there, After all these holes, we got our highest grade silver. Very nice results, 69.8 grams silver, over 325 meters. And that's one thing that really, here's some of the top 12 intercepts, 400, 300, 349, 300. And these are remarkably consistently mineralized. You might have, out of several hundred samples you've analyzed, you probably have 20, 25 that are slightly below our 30 gram silver equivalent. So remarkable consistency and extent. I mean, 441 meters, that's 4.5 football fields. And you can see the proportion of the elements here. Our big four are silver, tin, zinc, lead, and they vary. Of course, we have some that have more silver, some more tin. Zinc is a sleeper here, quite important, and lead. We also have some gold, we have copper, we have cadmium, we have bismuth, we have indium. There's all sorts of stuff in this system. It's amazing. But those big four will be what ultimately the economics will be based on, and they'll probably end up being about 90% of the overall value. Now, looking at a section here, this is a section, north-south section, going from up in our Santa Barbara deposit. You can see the outline of the greater than 90 gram silver equivalent grade shell, and you can see that purpley red going all the way down here, and you've got a series of late faults just stepping it down a little bit, and that's over 4.5 kilometers. Now down in Porco, that's some mineralization you find in the adits, which is beautiful, and that is in quartzite, which is usually a terrible host. This system is so powerful, it's hammered the quartzite, so it's full of veins and beautiful stockwork. So the continuity of this system is remarkable. And you might ask, well, okay, why didn't the old timers find this? They had thousands of slaves. Well, if you look at the top of that magnetic map, it's all green because everything is intensely oxidized, all the metal stripped out. And early on, Dr. Osvaldo Arce, our key guy in Bolivia, and the reason we're in this project, he said to me, Bill, every high peak in southern Bolivia is a tin mine except Isca. What's wrong with Isca? Well, we know now. It's a very high level system that has been remarkably preserved, and no one would find it by prospecting. Now here's a model here that gives you an idea. You can see our Santa Barbara deposit up in the red. That's our 90 gram silver equivalent shell, and it's like a cherry on top of this huge inverse magnetic model, which we are pretty sure is a potential tin porphyry, and that's what we're going. And look at the dimension here in terms of, we're looking at our greater than 90 gram silver equivalent model, 1,000 by 800 by 1,100. It's open, and you can see how our drilling has progressed from our September to January model. And trust me, we have nowhere near fully defining this thing. But the big upside we're going after right now, if we can nail the tin story, we certainly believe it there. We have quite a few tin intersections. West of Santa Barbara are 1,000-meter holes through the core of the Santa Barbara deposit. Guess what? They go through silver, zinc, and lead and end in tin. And that's something to really state for. So in a nutshell, we have one world-class deposit, we believe, in the bank. And we're working on doing an MRE on that. But as I say, that's a progress report. If we can nail down the tin, which I believe we will, we got a shot at a second world-class deposit. And that just shows you where we're drilling right now. That's an IP profile down on the southern end on our Canaveras, our Cassiterita property. And we're busy doing some drilling down there. You can see that conductivity anomaly, it runs all the way down. It's very, very extensive. And the other thing about Isca, this is a conceptual deposit model from Osvaldo's book here. You can see all the different deposit types. We have every single deposit type in that mountain, from the upper silver, zinc, lead like San Cristobal, Wauwakaza, in the Santa Barbara, and down Cassiterita, Porco. So remarkable. So just to close then, stay tuned. Next 3-6 months will be great. We're pushing forward to that MRE. As I tell people, we're shooting for the end of Q1. I'll be stringing up from a tree somewhere if it's much longer than that. We're going after that big tin porphyry. We've got a wonderful deposit already, which is a start. And we have lots of indication that tin's there. We're doing met work. We're doing preliminary mining studies as part of the MRE. So it's an exciting time, a great project. And by the way, for those of you who are worrying about Bolivia, in my opinion, it's the best jurisdiction in South America to explore. Thank you.